little more time to play with this a little bit more. Actually got 4 of the oil. Still got some good ones back there. We got some good ones back there. Missing one IGF signal because I didn't connect one of the coils to the igniter. That's this one right here. So watch how I'll get connected, and you should see the IGF. There, see that. We got all the IGFs. Disconnect this and try not to blow anything up. I can see I'm missing a IGF signal again. Okay. There's 2 ways to get the IGF signal. One is I rigged up a transistor, just a small one. IGT signal from the ECU. It's going to my coil to fire it, but I can also cut into it, use some of its power. This just happens to be a resistor. I have 400 ohms. I tried using some lower ones, and I tried using some lower resistance ones, and the car don't run right. I would get the IGF, but it doesn't run right. So there you go. No IGF. Connect this. IGF. Disconnect this. No IGF. IGF. Okay, disconnect it. One more way to get fake IGF signals. Going to connect this one. This goes to the igniter. The igniter's basically, forgot what it's called. Okay. If you connect this to just a straight up 14 volt or 12 volt, it will give you IGF signal. But I don't have to set up in this. Let's see here. Sorry. Kind of hard to hold this phone. Oops, he didn't like that. Let's see. Problem is I can't hold this phone and do what I need to do. Okay, that should work. Okay, sorry. Alright, see I got 6 IGF signals again. Basically, power directly from your 12 volt It's actually probably about 14 right now. Going directly. It's going directly into the igniter. This would usually be your the negative to your ignition coil. The igniter wants to see current, basically, and connect it to the battery. Yep, I'll disconnect it. I'll go ahead and disconnect the battery. See, it's missing one. I'll connect it up again. There we go. Battery to my scope died. Also, so I can't show you that, but unless I plug it in, I discovered if you can use up to about 5 ohms. This happens to be about a 10 ohm and 10 watts, but if you put the 10 ohm resistor in between battery and the igniter, you will not get an IGF signal. If you put no resistor, you get IGF signal. This is a 1 ohm. If you put a 1 ohm between the battery and the igniter, you do get IGF signal. I play around with it quite a bit, and I can get about 6 ohms. I can get about 6 ohms. What's she saying with focus? Don't want to focus. Well, anyway, I get about 6 ohms, and 6 ohms. Sometimes it doesn't give you IGF, and sometimes it does. So I found that 5 ohms is rather consistent, and I don't even have a 5 ohm resistor. I took two 10 ohm resistors, put them in parallel. That gives you 5 ohms. So you take a 5 ohm resistor. We'll pretend like this is 5 ohms. This isn't 5 ohms. Put it between your power source. The other lead would go directly into the igniter. Like this happens to be for cylinder 1, and cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4, cylinder 5, cylinder 6. And these are, oh, these go to coil. This comes from your, this side comes from your ECM. This is your IGF. Not all cars will have this one. This is going to the connector over there. Positive, and then your grounds. Something else I discovered is this one right here that goes over here. It seems to do the exact opposite of the IGF. So like the IGF would go from 5 volts to about 0.8 volts, 0.7 volts. This one right here does the exact opposite. It'll go from about, I didn't measure exactly, but it'll, instead of dropping voltage, it'll go up about 4.5 volts or so. So IGF signal dips, the signal it jumps. I'm not sure if I can figure out a use for that one. I'm trying to think of a use for it. So there you go. You want your fake IGF. I would suggest you take no more resistance than a 5. You might want to go with if you can rig up 4 to be more reliable. This is 10 watts, should be more than enough. If you do the math with a 5 ohms, I think it was like 38 watts, but that's for continuous. We're only shooting in like a 3.3 millisecond pulse. So that's definitely not your 100% duty. And you multiply that by how many times it's going to fire per second, kind of calculate no more than 40. So it should be no more than about 12.5% duty cycle. So 10 watts is plenty. I ran it on 10 watts. Well, I ran it on 2 10 watts in parallel, so that would give you 20 watts, but it didn't even get warm at all. Not even close to warm. I believe 10 watts would be more than enough. So you want your you could do from battery. Each of those 6 terminals will get its own 5 ohm 10 watt resistors. You could also, I don't see any reason why you couldn't do it the other way too. You could go from positive into 1 resistor, and every single, it'll fork out. So all 6 of these will go through 1 resistor and to the battery. Well, I wouldn't use the battery either, but you use a switch source. If I was going to use all 6 though, I would do something better than a 10 watt. I see some on eBay, they have a 25 watt power resistor, so I'd probably do that. So you could go 12 volts. Well, I keep saying 12 volts, but not really 12 volts. So we'll say 12 volts, 1 5 ohm resistor of 25 watts handling capacity, split off to all 6 of these, and you should get all your IGF signals. I haven't tried it. That's not the way I'm going to do it. You can do the little resistor trick thing. I mean transistor trick. I have to see if I trust that. You know, I've been playing around. I tend to blow up transistors, so it should be reliable. If I try the transistor trick and it works, I would mount the transistor actually inside the car or by the ECM. That way it stays out of heat. I mean, you could even just take this igniter out and actually you wouldn't even need the igniter anymore. I don't think. I have to figure that one out. You shouldn't even need the igniter anymore, actually. You just pull this IGFs out of the igniter. Basically all you're doing is grounding, the transistor's just grounding out the 5 volts from the igniter, so it's just grounding. That's why the voltage keeps dipping. So yeah, you won't even need the igniter anymore. It's going to go ECM to coils. You'll intercept the IGT signals from the ECM to a transistor back into the IGF signal. Hope you understand that. And that's it. So I got 4 hooked up. I was going to drive correctly, but I couldn't figure out what was wrong. One of the wires was loose. I didn't want to get stuck somewhere, so I didn't drive through it. It's kind of misfire right now. But once I get rid of all that crap, I'll get an extra millisecond of, almost a millisecond of dwell on my coils. My coils can't actually do what they want to do because I'm still going through the igniter. way I got it rigged up, it looks like I could probably put the cover back on if I wanted to. Yeah, should be able to put the cover back on. I can always shorten the boots. The boots I used, I think it was called for a, I have to look it up. It's for like a 6-cylinder Jaguar, and I think there's a Ford or something that could also put this coil. I forgot what it was. Basically, I put those boots on there. Took the mount, had to cut it up, and I flipped it backwards. And one reason I kind of did that is I already did that for those. Had those for about more than a year, and it ran good for about a year. Started having the misfires after about a year. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I have a problem with coils there. I kind of might think it might be the reluctor ring down there. Reluctor ring by the crankshaft gear, I think. There you go. Still gotta be careful here. That's one thing I did notice. It's kind of stumbled a little bit, but that's somewhat normal. So there we go. Easy IGF is. Oh, these wires are a little touchy. That's why I had a problem with my car this morning. These piece of crap connectors are too really bad. But easy IGF signals is 5 ohm resistors, or lower, like a 4 ohm, 3 ohm, 2 ohm. 5 ohms would waste less power, and if you went with like a 1 ohm resistor, it would definitely work for sure, but then more power is going to be wasted, and more power goes to the resistor, and then you would need a higher capacity resistor, higher watt capacity. Radio Shack has 10 ohms, but that doesn't work. So I'll probably order me some 5 ohm resistors through eBay. These are pretty cheap. I'll play around with that. Also, I'm going to play around with the transistor thing and see how trustworthy that is. I'm sure it is trustworthy, because the whole car's actually full of transistors. And the other thing is, the igniter's got a whole bunch of transistors in it. Of course, I would, do a really nice job on making the circuit. Blah 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 blah. Put the circuit by the ECM in the car, and I'll play around with these resistor values. I put like a 20 ohm resistor between IGT signal and my transistor base input, and I got IGF signals, but anyway, the car's a blip, 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 didn't like it. I just kind of went in my house real quick and found this 400 ohm. So 400 ohm between IGT signal, base of the transistor, and power ran fine, and I got IGT signals. So how did I rig it? Well, let's see, the base is the middle one. It's so hard to see. That is IGT signal. That's top secret stuff that we can't look at. Okay. Basically, basically the the IDT's triggering the transistor through the base, and then it's going to got oh yeah, one side of the transistor connected to the ground, and one side of the transistor is connected to the IGF. So the IDT signal triggers the resistor, and it grounding out the igniter IGF signal to ground, and that gives you your voltage dip, which is your fake IGF signal. Someone actually already did this about 5-6 years ago. I've seen them do it on a Mark III. It looked like they only had one IGF signal on a Mark III. Of course, I got 6 to deal with, not just one. So it'd probably be 6 transistors, or I should be able to also do it with just one. But, do it with one resistor and you blow your one resistor, then your one transistor. I'm sorry. If you do it with one transistor, you're kind of screwed. And actually, I might see if I can get away with a bigger transistor. I tried a bigger transistor before, it didn't work. Maybe like a medium-sized transistor. This just transistor handles 600 milliamps. I'd like to find something maybe handle 5 amps or something like that, just for reliability. Got quite a few of these, so I ain't worried about